And good morning. It is 8:07 on News Talk 1079 on this Wednesday morning. Neil Larson and along with Julie Mason. And we're so pleased to be joined this morning by Idaho's Attorney General in studio, Raul Labrador. Attorney General, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having me here. Thanks for bringing this weather to welcome me to Idaho Falls.
Well, that's Mother Nature's our welcoming committee sometimes. So we were just talking about that. How are things with you?
They're going really well. You know, life is good. We just had a great Thanksgiving, had all the kids at home. We have 5 kids and 6 grandkids, and it was a full house. And as every family knows, it's always good to also not have a full house after the full house.
Yes, right.
Cleanup is desired.
Cleanup is always good.
You're like, we want an empty house now for a while. So.
Empty nesting is not that bad.
That's true. Well, we're glad you're here. We we see what's going on here. Tell us the purpose of your visit and why you're on this side of the state.
Absolutely. We're visiting a couple of businesses, but the most important thing that we're doing this morning, we're giving an award to 2 law enforcement officers, one from the Idaho Falls Police Department and the other one from the Sheriff's Department. And they have both, between them, have arrested 100 people who commit internet crimes against children. I don't know if people understand this, but the Office of Attorney General leads the task force. So the Attorney General is the lead of the task force on the internet crimes against children. And these are the really ugly, evil people that are out there creating or disseminating videos about children. They're just the worst of the worst. And we have made a tremendous effort in our office over the last 3 years to change the way that these cases are prosecuted, the way that they're investigated. And last year we arrested 3 times as many people as the previous 3 years combined.
Wow.
So we have made just a huge difference in the way we're doing. But the way we do this is by working with our own officers, that work for the Attorney General's office, but we have these great partnerships with law enforcement offices throughout the state of Idaho. And these 2 officers, Detective Jared Mendenhall of the Idaho Falls Police Department and Detective Corey Payne of the Bonneville County Sheriff's Office, between them, they have arrested 100 perpetrators who have been committing these horrible crimes. I mean, these are people that are doing God's work. They're really working hard to protect our families and to protect Idaho, and I'm proud of the work we're doing. So we're giving them an award for the work that they've been doing.
Attorney General, I remember you talking about this early on in your administration, that was going to be a point of emphasis. And since then, it almost seems like every week, every few days, here's another person getting charged, child pornography or chatting online with a kid or whatever. And I think it's easy for people to get the impression that there's a spike in these crimes, when in reality, there's just a renewed emphasis on going after these crimes.
So there's both. Unfortunately, there's both. People, the internet just gives you easy access to good things and to really, really bad things. So so I'm here to tell every parent out there that you need to know what your kids are looking at online. You need to know who they're talking to. You need to know what apps they're using, because they're using these apps. These bad actors are using these apps to get access to your children. And you really need to know, the biggest regret, and I say this again and again and again, the biggest regret I have as a father is that I actually gave my kids a phone when they were teenagers. Yeah. You need to wait till they're older. You need to, in fact, if I had to do it all over again, I would wait till they're 27. Yeah. It's just a horrible, horrible device that gives them access to a lot of really bad things out there. But the reality is that we don't live in that world, and most kids have a phone. You need to know who they're talking to, because there's predators out there. So the number of activity is going up. The number of crimes are going up. But we do have a renewed emphasis. I actually hired a new ICAC commander 3 years ago. I hired a new chief of my criminal division. And I told him that we needed to make sure that we were using the resources that the people of Idaho are giving us through the legislature, and we need to use them effectively and efficiently. And, when I became the Attorney General, we had a huge number of cases that were being submitted to the Office of Attorney General. So we get these these cases come into the office through actually the internet providers. It's somebody in the internet company. They say, we think this might be a crime. You need to be looking at this. They send us these messages telling us that you should look at this, and we had a huge backlog in the state of Idaho. We had about 2,400 cases that were not being investigated, were not being looked at, or there were more tips. They're not really all cases. Not every tip is a crime, right?
Yeah.
Those tips were growing exponentially. And I told my team, we need to get rid of the backlog, and we need to make sure that we start investigating all these cases. And within 6 months, we got rid of the backlog. Now we look at every tip that comes to the Office of Attorney General. We look at them within 24 hours. And we make sure that they're investigated. If it's a crime, it's referred to one of our investigators, and it's assigned to one of the prosecutors so we can start doing this. And then the other change that we made is we start prosecuting the cases internally. Instead of sending them to the local prosecutors, we start prosecuting them internally. And that's why you're seeing this huge increase, because we're just doing a much better job than we were doing before.
Okay, so it doesn't create this added burden on the local county prosecutors.
Correct. We're doing it ourselves. Plus, we have engaged and we have improved the relationships that we have with the local communities. Some of the local law enforcement offices did not like working with the Office of Attorney General because they thought they were wasting their time because they were just kind of running around in circles. Yep. Now we're training them, we're working with them, and we have these renewed partnerships that are, that's why we're doing what we're doing today. We're actually coming to give an award to 2 local law enforcement people that have done great service for the community.
That's great.
So, Attorney General, obviously we applaud this. We've talked a lot about this. I have a question of doing this part is fantastic and needed. What about the sentencing structures for these crimes? Would you like to see a change in some of those? Because I believe that me and our listeners feel like maybe they're a little light sometimes on the sentencing.
So I try, as you know, I was a legislator, I was a congressman. I try not to comment on policy. That's up to the legislature to do. But what we do is we have emphasized every time our prosecutors prosecute these cases, we explain to the judges how important it is to give them a tough sentence, because these are images that are harming kids. And what these kids are going through is just horrendous. The acts, in fact, they're so bad that I tell my investigators, I don't want to know all the details of the things that you're seeing. We have to keep them on mental health appointments. They have to see a mental health person every few months. We make sure, because these things that they're seeing are really, really horrendous things. So I don't even want to know the details. And we try to explain to the judges, and we have seen the sentences increase as we have made an emphasis of explaining better to the judges, more and more what these things are. But yes, if you think that they should have bigger sentences and more appropriate sentences, talk to your legislators and make sure that they do something to increase those sentences.
Is there something underlying this, that there's not enough jail space, or are there reasons why this happens internally that maybe the average person doesn't understand? They just see what they think is a light sentence, and then they have understandable anger after that.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey, it's Brad from Now 105.1 and QP99. I'm in the studio here. I love our studios, by the way. Ranger Rick back there. There's Neal and Julie doing their thing. Hey, when you want to advertise on the radio, what do? You call the radio station, right? But what do you do when you want to advertise on Facebook and Instagram and Hulu and Disney Plus and Peacock and the other TV streaming services? You can kind of click around on them and make guesses or read books or take courses online on how to do that advertising. Or you could call us at the radio station. At Sandhill Media, we take care of your local radio and digital marketing. So reach out to us at sandhillmediagroup.com and we'll make sure that your message gets heard and seen wherever your customers are.
Well, I think there's so many crimes that are happening, and the jail space maybe is part of it. I think maybe a little bit of the education. I think that's why you have seen the sentences increase from the work that we have been doing. Yep. Because I think sometimes the judges think, oh, it's just a video. or it's just a picture, or it's just this. But there's really so much more to the harm that's being done to these children, so much more to the harm that it's really doing to our society, to our state, to our cities, to our counties. And we are trying to educate the judges on the fact that these people, especially the ones who have a lot of porn on their phones and are distributing the porn, we do a pretty good job with the ones that are making these videos. I think those people get slapped pretty good. Yeah. But it's when you just see a video that's being shared, you're not really thinking about all the harm. I think sometimes the judges don't think about all the harm that went, that these kids went through. It might just be a video, but it's a video that was made and where that child was harmed, when that child was put into danger, and their lives have been affected. And we are training not just our prosecutors, but we're trying to train the local prosecutors on explaining that to the judges.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's shift and talk about something else. We know that next month is the Supreme Court hearing for Idaho's Fairness in Sports law that Barbie Hart got passed a few years ago. You're probably limited in what you can talk about here because it is a pending case before the Supreme Court. But if there are things that you can share about that case, I know there's a lot of people that are interested and they're excited to have this case go before the High Court.
Well, as you know, Idaho is the first state in the nation to pass a law to prevent boys from participating in women's sports. In fact, I was watching this morning a video, which is, doesn't say much about me, but it was Ricky Gervais talking at one of his stand-up gigs, and he said, and I'm not going to be as crude as he was, but he said, I cannot believe that we're talking about the fact that women do not have male parts. He did not say male parts. Okay?
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
And he said 10 years ago, who would have thought? He said, no, you wouldn't find anybody's tweet. You wouldn't find anybody's Facebook post talking about that, because 10 years ago, no one would have thought that that was something we were going to be talking about. And he did it in his own funny way, but it's exactly right. It's just, I cannot believe that we're going to the U.S. Supreme Court to talk about whether boys should be participating in girls' sports, whether there should be any question about that. But for 5 years, America kind of went crazy. And America started thinking that that was okay. So Idaho was the first state in the union to pass this law. We had the ACLU sue the state of Idaho. A federal district judge in Boise said that that law was unconstitutional, and the Ninth Circuit agreed with that federal district court, saying that that law was unconstitutional, which to me was preposterous. But the worst part was that the attorney general at the time of the state of Idaho, a Republican attorney general, the one I defeated in a Republican primary, said that that law was unconstitutional. So the ACLU, as their Exhibit A in their filing against the state of Idaho, which that attorney general was defending, was the opinion of the attorney general saying that it was unconstitutional. So one of the main reasons I ran for this office is because I thought Idaho was not being well represented in the courts, was not being well represented by the Office of Attorney General. So I changed all that, and I decided not only that I didn't think that law was constitutional, I thought that law was constitutional, but I would challenge it and go all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. So we have asked the U.S. Supreme Court to hear this, and we feel pretty good about it. You can't ever bet on what the Supreme Court's going to do. We do have one wrinkle in this law. After 5 years of, in this case, after 5 years of fighting the ACLU on this issue, and 5 years of the state of Idaho not being able to actually enforce this law, the ACLU now, when they see that they're probably going to lose in the U.S. Supreme Court, has decided that they want to dismiss the case. That the boy who was trying to play at BSU no longer wants to participate in girls' sports, and that makes the case moot, according to them. And we're saying, wait a second, this is too late. You have been preventing the state of Idaho from enforcing this law for 5 years. You can't just dismiss the case. But the problem is that the Supreme Court may decide that it is moot. Now, the good news is that there's another case from West Virginia, and which has the same issues, and both cases are going to be heard on the same day. So a decision will be made. I hope the decision is made on the Idaho case and not on the West Virginia case. But either way, the issue will be decided.
And when will that be decided?
It's going to be the second week of, well, the hearing will be the second week of January. So we're going to Washington, D.C. to go before the U.S. Supreme Court. Okay. And obviously, it will take them a couple of months to write an opinion.
To figure all of that out.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess in a situation like that, where they said, no, you can't dismiss the case, what attorneys then carry the case? If they're like, we want it dismissed, can you force attorneys to defend a case?
So what we did is that at the federal district court, they came back and they tried to dismiss the case, and we told the federal judge, I'm sorry, this is unfair for the state of Idaho. We have not been able to actually enforce the law for 5 years, and now they just want to dismiss it last minute, and the federal district court agreed with us, to their credit. Yeah. They said, you're right, we're not going to dismiss this. That would be unfair to the state of Idaho. We also filed a motion. They filed a motion with the U.S. Supreme Court trying to get it dismissed, and we told the U.S. Supreme Court that would be unfair. The Supreme Court did not make a decision. They didn't say that it was fair or unfair, or they were on our side or their side. They just say, let's just have the hearing and we'll talk about it then. So that's going to be, it's one of those legal issues that is going to be decided, that it doesn't really have anything to do with the law itself. It's just whether the case is a case in controversy, whether it's something that is still alive, or is it a case that is no longer alive. And our argument is that it is still alive, because even if this particular person does not want to participate in girls' sports, the ACLU already said that they're going to sue again. Yeah. So they're going to find another plaintiff. So we've already gone through this whole process. So let's just get it over with.
Was there a sense here, and you can find a conspiracy theory about anything, that maybe the plaintiffs in this case felt like they couldn't win in the current constitution of the Supreme Court? Their chances weren't good, so they didn't want to bring it now. They wanted to wait for a different time? Or do you think it was just a genuine, I'm done playing college sports, I just want to close this chapter in my life?
I don't want to comment on that individual's motives, because I really don't know them, and I can't comment on their motives. But there's no question that the ACLU does not like the current makeup of the U.S. Supreme Court.
There was one viral moment in Ketanji Brown Jackson's nomination hearing. And
just one?
Well, the one I'm thinking of, when she was asked, what is a woman? And she said, I can't answer that because I'm not a biologist.
Yes.
And I thought, is that going to get revisited here when she's hearing this case? Because what is a woman is the core issue of this case before the Supreme Court.
Absolutely, and I don't know if that's going to be revisited, and I would rather not comment on the individual justices. But what I can tell you, that even that viral moment, what is a woman? You don't even have to go there. The question is whether males have an advantage over females in sports. Yep. And that's why Title IX was enacted. So there's two issues that are being heard by the court. One is whether this is prevented by Title IX, and I think it clearly is, because Title IX was instituted to ensure, and this is why Barb has, why this was such a huge issue for her. She was a women's college coach, and she had benefited and participated with Title IX all of her adult life, and all of a sudden you were saying that, no, we're going to allow boys to participate in basketball, in swimming, in volleyball. I have a daughter who played volleyball in high school, and when I saw that video of the male hitting the volleyball and breaking the face of a woman. I've been hit in the face by a volleyball playing volleyball, because I used to play. I wasn't an athlete. I just played a lot of pickup ball, and it hurts like crazy. And when you get hit by somebody who's really, really good, it can break your nose. It can break your face. And all I could think about was my daughter being hit by a male in a competitive sport in the college level, where those athletes, are incredible. And it's fundamentally unfair. That's why you have Title IX. So there's first the Title IX issue, and then there's the argument of whether the equal protection, whether the Constitution protects a male who wants to participate in women's sports. And like I said, going back to the Ricky Gervais case, story, there's just no way 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that any of us would have thought, oh, yeah, the Constitution of the United States will protect a boy and allow him to participate in a women's volleyball league or in a women's basketball league.
Real quick, you mentioned Barbie Hart. We're so grateful for her. I've interviewed her on this subject multiple times. Our listeners need to remember that when she played college ball, the female athletes would get the male athletes' hand-me-down uniforms. And that's what they used to have to wear. Yeah. So that's how far we've come. And all of a sudden we want to roll it back and bring the boys into the sports. That makes no sense. Okay, in a nugget size, break it down. What isn't constitutional? Is it really that they believe a man has the constitutional right to play?
Yeah, so they believe that a man, that preventing a man from participating in women's sports is violating the Equal Protection Clause of the U.S. Constitution.
Okay. It's 8:26 now on News Talk 107.9. We're going to take a quick... How long do we have you for today? However?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll have you done by 2 or 3 p.m. So.
Oh, no problem.
All right.
No problem.
We'll be back. Another segment with Attorney General Raul Labrador coming up on News Talk 107.9. 8:31 now. News Talk 107.9. Neil Larson along with Julie Mason and Idaho's Attorney General Raul Labrador joining us in studio this morning. And want to shift to another case now, Attorney General. That is the lawsuit that was brought by Representative Stephanie Mickelson, Moscow School District. There were a whole bunch of plaintiffs on this particular one, challenging House Bill 93. That's the parental choice in education law. I know it's a pending case, so you're going to step lightly here in how you answer our questions. But what would you say about that particular case right now?
So we just submitted our briefs, and we feel the case, the state has a really strong case to win this case. But again, just like the U.S. Supreme Court, you don't know what the state Supreme Court's going to do. I think we have a great state Supreme Court, and I think they will make the right decision. But hopefully, they will rule in our favor. I have been a little bit surprised by the arguments that were made by the other side. And it's interesting to see, you mentioned a representative who sued the state of Idaho. So apparently I wasn't doing my job really well when I was a state representative. If my side didn't win, I just needed to sue, right? Instead of just accept that.
I didn't get what I wanted.
I didn't get what I wanted, so I think I'm going to go take my lunchbox and sue somebody.
This branch of the government didn't work out, so I'll go to this branch of the government.
So that's really interesting to me that is happening right now. But what's really most interesting is that this particular representative loves launch. The launch program. You're familiar with that.
Oh, yes.
And I don't know if you know, but the state of Idaho is giving money to BYU Idaho, which is a religious institution.
Oh, the horror.
And apparently that's okay when it's a program she likes.
Yeah.
But it's not okay when it's a program she doesn't like.
Yeah. And we have tried to make... In fact, that's our gotcha question. Whenever we interview somebody who hates House Bill 93.
Yeah.
What's interesting about this particular case, though, is maybe you don't want to comment on what's in it, but it's notable what's not in it. And that's a Blaine Amendment unconstitutionality argument. It's fascinating that has been Jim Jones' main talking point for months and months, maybe even years now.
For years.
And there's not a mention of it in this lawsuit.
Well, I think the U.S. Supreme Court has been hinting for years that the Blaine Amendment is actually unconstitutional. And if you know anything about the Blaine Amendment, it was actually a very anti-religious amendment that was put in a lot of state constitutions, because it initially started where people did not want Catholics to have private education, so they prevented Catholics in some more Protestant states from allowing them to have state money going to their religious institutions. In Idaho, particularly, it was anti-LDS. The Blaine Amendment in Idaho was to prevent the LDS church from actually instituting private education and private organizations that would be funded by the state. So it has a very anti-religious tinge to it, and it's just interesting that now LDS people are using it against House Bill 93, which, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But I think people should understand a little bit of the history, and I think that's one of the main reasons they didn't use the Blaine Amendment, because the U.S. Supreme Court has not, in fact, ruled that the Blaine Amendment is unconstitutional, but every time there has been a U.S. Supreme Court case that involves issues tied to the Blaine Amendment, the U.S. Supreme Court has said no. You cannot discriminate. If the state's giving funding to private institutions that are non-religious, they need to give funding to the religious institutions. Now, it doesn't say that you have to give money to religious institutions. It just says that if you are going to give it to a private institution, you cannot discriminate against religious institutions.
Well, and in this particular case where they've structured it as a tax credit.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
If I get the grocery tax credit, $155 or something per person, if I go out and buy a stack of Bibles with that grocery tax credit, that could be a violation for people using an education tax credit to use.
So I'm going to correct you. You couldn't use that because that's a stack of Bibles. That's not groceries.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, I guess you could use it for whatever you want.
Yeah, because the grocery tax credit.
But if they give you a food, let's go. If they give you a food tax,
yes,
right? Decrease.
Yeah.
If they waive the food tax, you could use it at BYU Creamery,
right?
Yeah,
yes.
right. And
correct.
The state could say, no, you can buy ice cream everywhere. And I don't know if BYU Idaho has a BYU.
Yeah.
Where I went to BYU, we had BYU Creamery. I don't know what, but BYU Idaho has here. You could use it at whatever institution you could use it at that is private.
Right. But I guess the point here is.
But your point is well taken.
You have a buffer, and it's the parents making the choice for the public education. It's not the state making that choice.
Correct.
So
just like the parents can buy any book, for their kids' education, they could buy a Bible, like you said.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just because you're familiar with court cases, do you have a crystal ball? Do you know the timeline of how this is going to work out?
I don't. We're waiting to hear from the court, if we're going to have a hearing, or they could actually just make the decision on the briefs. They could decide not to hold a hearing, so we're waiting from them. We're at their mercy.
So this kicks in January. This
Correct.
law does. So there is kind of a practical deadline for them to issue some kind of a decision, right? Well, I guess if they don't issue a decision, the program moves.
The program
forward.
just starts.
Okay,
Correct.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So I guess
they don't have to. They don't have to issue a decision at any time. And what the one decision they have made is that they did not enjoin the state from actually. Implementing the law.
So it can go forward.
It's fully active.
It's fully active until the court says something differently.
Something otherwise. Okay, well, that's... And again, you can never read into too much, but can you read into that a little bit? That maybe that's their posture towards this thing?
I'm going to keep my comments to myself.
Okay, that's probably smart move.
You really can't read. It's true.
Yeah.
When you think you're winning, you sometimes lose. When you think you're going to lose, you sometimes win.
Yeah.
So you really can't read anything into their actions.
Yeah, gotcha.
All right, we'll finish with, I saw a tweet of yours, or an X post, where it said, Labrador 3, Satanic Temple 0, meaning you've won in the courts against the Satanic Temple. Would you like to explain to our listeners what those victories are that you have?
So that's been one of the most interesting things that I have done. On my first day in office as Attorney General, the Satanic Temple decided to sue the state of Idaho, and they made it personal. They wanted to sue me because they knew that I was going to be a strong pro-life Attorney General, and they sued the state of Idaho on some pretty gross things. They believe that abortion is their sacrament, so that it violates their religious rights to have anti-abortion laws. And they also believe that forcing a woman to have a baby is akin to slavery. So it violates, according to them, the 13th Amendment. Those are two pretty gross things that you can think about, how evil and sick their mindset is. But the reality that even the federal district court and even the Ninth Circuit has ruled in favor of the state of Idaho and has ruled against the state of Idaho. So it's been kind of fun. When we won the first case, this is the third time that we won. When we won the first case, we sent out a press release with the headline, Labrador defeats Satan. And even the Idaho statement had to run that headline. So it's been, we try to have a little bit of fun. We have a friend who gave us a golden violin, if you know the old song, The Devil Went Down to Georgia. So he gave me a golden violin that we actually have in our office now.
So good. So good. Do you think that they're going to continue forward, or is this an end?
I think they'll continue. They'll keep trying different things, but I think this case is over. I think they're going to try to, people that are trying to force Idaho to have abortions are going to keep fighting the state of Idaho.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll leave it with that. Attorney General Raul Labrador joining us in studio this morning. It's always great to see you.
Great to see you as well.
All right. We'll be back after the news. All right, it's 8:46 now on News Talk 107.9. Julie, yesterday we talked with 5 of the 6 runoff candidates in Pocatello and Idaho Falls. Today we've talked with Senator Crapo and Attorney General Raul Labrador.
Tomorrow we have Senator Risch.
Okay, I was just going to tell you, I'm getting politicianed. I love Raul Labrador, so it's not him. I'm getting politicianed out, but that's what we do here.
It's great. Yeah. I so appreciate that this studio has been an open place for these people to come and share their thoughts. And I can tell you automatically, we've already confirmed with the new leadership of Idaho Falls that that's going to be a pretty regular thing.
Yeah.
And we've reached out to the new leadership of Pocatello, and we're hoping that there will be a more open, transparent relationship there as well.
Yeah.
And I think that that's how politics in East Idaho gets healthy again.
Well, I would agree with that. And I hope, Julie, that in that vein, that Mayor-elect Burtonshaw will be an example to others, because there are politicians that will not come on the air with us. Mm-hmm. And we ask them tough questions, but that is our job. Their job's to answer them. And I think sometimes it's easy. They feel like, that's not going to help me out politically. And I'm like, well, yeah, but you owe it to your constituents to answer these questions. So,
yes.
But we'll see. We'll see. So,
I know that there's listeners today who were hoping for a different outcome in both Pocatello and Idaho Falls.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you can't have any feelings about that, because a lot of people are invested. I just hope there is a bridge eventually where if you're upset today, you become hopeful and carry forward. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, I do too. And I think that our biggest points of concern, Julie, isn't really in the outcome or with the candidates.
No, not at all.
I like Jeff. I like Lisa. I think Lisa will be fine as a mayor. And we have people who disagree. We've already had people texting in on that. But that part of that is disagreement. I guess my biggest point of concern is the massive amount of outside money, the dark money, the PAC money that came in to sway the race. And that is really an unhealthy facet of our politics that we can't stop. Okay, in America with freedom and our campaign finance laws, you're not going to stop it, but you can sure put some sunshine on it, and you can talk about it, and you can point people in that direction, not to alter the outcome, but just to let people know there was at least $60,000+ of outside PAC money that went into a city mayoral race of a mid-sized Idaho town, small town in America, but a mid-sized town in Idaho. And that is just a feature of this that, like I said, we can't stop, but we do have to point to it. And I would hope that we'd opt against that, because it ought to be local dollars, local people, local influencers, local voices that are determining the outcomes of these races, not some outside group, in some cases out of state.
Couldn't agree more. That was the disappointment for me in the last couple of weeks of the race. And then the other disappointment in the Idaho Falls race was the negative attacks on people's personal, like career choices. that went too far for me. The race needed to be about policy. Here's the deal. The residents of Idaho Falls had issues that they wanted to talk, very clear-cut issues they wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
It didn't need to go to that place.
No, and it didn't need to go. It didn't need to go there. And but you know what? We pressed the reset button, and we'll move forward. You remember these things, and I think you keep them there. There was a moment last night in Lisa's victory speech. Let me see if I saved that. I want to play this for a moment. This is some clips from her Facebook video from her victory speech.
You matter. You matter. I want you to know that. I'm so thankful for your support. Thank you for showing up for me. We have work to do. We have work to do. And Brandon, congratulations. And here we are. We've got all of our council members, Michelle and John, and council member Francis and Kurt and Jim Freeman. We're all here and we're all united. We've got work to do and we can get it done in the city. So thank you, everyone. Thank you. Commissioner Walker is here as well, and Commissioner Mallard. So,
okay, so she's thanking everyone, and in that environment, I'm not going to scrutinize too heavily, but I will say, I don't think the job moving forward between a mayor and a council is just to be unified. I want there to be a check on each other. I want there to be division. I know that sounds weird and we're kind of anti-division and it feels good to be unified. I want there to be a good check on what she's doing, and I want her to be a good check on what the council's doing, and I want the council members to be a check on each other. So in that spirit of being unified, please don't lose the obligation to scrutinize each other, to have differences, to fully vet and fully discuss issues, because your community deserves that discussion on every important issue.
In my religious circles, I learned from someone who did exactly what you're talking about. There was, I'll use very vague words here because we have people who are not members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but there's a weekly meeting that people attend that are in leadership positions in church. And in that meeting, we would be going over things that would be occurring within our individual group. It's called a ward, but our individual ward. And I learned from a man who would always say, can I be devil's advocate for just a second and propose the other side? Nothing bad ever came from learning from that situation.
Yeah.
And I would hope that the council approaches it that way, that they're not just acting in lockstep, that there are people that are willing to say, hey, what if we look at it from this angle? I know that goes against what you're wanting, but let's look at it and see if there's any downsides.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a healthy council.
Yeah. Well, it is. And yeah, it is. I could beat this up, but I think our point's made here. Yeah. All right, it's 8:54. We do have to break for another commercial break here. We've got another hour ahead on News Talk 107.9. I know we've got calls waiting. We'll get to your calls when in just a few minutes right here on News Talk 107.9. All right, it's 8:57 now on News Talk 107.9. Going to go right to the phones. And caller, you have about 1 minute. Go ahead.
Good morning, Neal and Julie.
Hi, what's up?
Thoughts on getting rid of the runoff, just going straight vote. I think the runoff actually damaged Idaho Falls.
Yeah, at least for a while.
We'll see. What's your thoughts on that? Because I've never liked it, and now I really don't like it.
Well, here's what I would say. If I think it was an incredibly divisive campaign. I think the campaign ads, the dark money coming in, made it worse and amplified it. And I also think that if the advocates for Lisa spike the football it will make it even worse. If we just see them laughing like hyenas because their side won, it will do nothing to help her be a more effective mayor. So we'll see how that turns out. But we're out of time, caller. I appreciate the question. I think it's an important question to assess. We'll come back. We have. All right, welcome back. It's 9:07 now on News Talk 1079. Neil Larson, along with Julie Mason. And if you'd like to reach us on the program, the number to call is 208-542-1079. And really quick rundown. The political campaigns are over. The elections are done. And even if you didn't like the outcome of the election, whether you're in Pocatello or Idaho Falls, we can all join hands and say at least the campaign signs will come down, the campaign ads will stop, though our sales department's not happy about that, but the negative campaigning, all of it.
I'm so glad it's over, and I'm sure they're so glad it's over.
I mean, if you and I have fatigue, and the listeners have fatigue, I can't imagine what they're going through. Right
they've got to be so tired. And well done on all 4 mayoral campaigns, the 2 in Pocatello and the 2 in Idaho Falls. I do believe that the individual candidates should be proud of the effort that they put in.
Yeah.
I think they've all 4 learned a lot, which is what you hope.
Yeah.
I do believe all 4 had very genuine motives.
Yeah.
For wanting to be in the position. And I would ask our listeners not to conflate those advocates for certain candidates with the candidates themselves.
Yes, I would agree with that. I would agree, and I hope that, and it may take you a few days, and that's okay. Perfectly fine. And I've already tempered myself with Julie. Like I was grateful that Attorney General Labrador was here, and I didn't have a monologue this morning because I think there were some things that I may have said that really ate at me about this. Not the outcome. I like Lisa, and we asked her tough questions, but I like her, and I hope for the best for her, and I think she's very capable, and I think she'll be fine. We've already talked about that. But there were peripheral issues around the whole campaign, the way certain people approached it, the dark money that came, all of that. I had things on my tongue that I could have said that I'm glad, maybe I'll be glad in a few days that I didn't, that it's probably good to temper that because we all have these moments when we watch politics, for whatever reason, it's ugly. And it's toxic, and it's nasty. And when I look at, like Spencer Cox, his whole disagree better stuff, it's great, but that's not the nature of politics. For whatever reason, when there is a lust for political power, the worst comes out. The worst comes out. Not in the candidates themselves, but sometimes in the candidates. I'm not talking about these in particular. I'm talking about in general. But when you look at how toxic Washington is, and every time when we interview Senator Crapo, Senator Risch, or the congressman, we're like, how are things? The answer is usually some version of, it's horrible here. Mm-hmm. It's horrible. And it's the toxic environment. And that it just comes down to once you taste political power, once you have control, you will go places and do things and say things and affiliate with people that in any other context you never would. But you check your morals at the door, your ethics at the door, and then you're like, oh yeah, it's okay if I do this now because it's all under the cover of politics. And so that's all right. And I don't like that about politics. And again, it's not aimed at a person. It's more aimed at this situation that we find ourselves in America where there's this lust for political power and people doing terrible, nasty, no good things in that pursuit of gaining that political power. That to me is what's truly unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. We had a lot going on behind the scenes over the last few days. we talked off air, me and you, about our stances and where we were representing. And I want to remind everybody, we get paid to analyze these campaigns. So we had people angry at us that we shared an opinion about an ad.
Yeah.
What do you think we get paid for?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. But I said to you, you and I have both had moments where we have gone back and we watch big interviews or whatever that we have done, and then we'll talk about it and we'll evaluate our performance. We'll say, man, I wish I would have done that, or I'm regretful that I lost my patience here, or and that makes you and me better at our jobs.
Yeah.
I would challenge anyone who made inflammatory statements via their social media to do exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Go back, read them, look at them. Maybe in a more calm, less passionate moment, you might rethink what you were doing, and hopefully you'll be better the next election cycle.
Yeah, I would hope so. Yeah, and I think you should always ask, which is why I'm glad I didn't do a monologue today. I think I might have said some things that are beneath me. And I don't want to be that way, because the feelings were very real. I didn't have a problem with Lisa winning, and I'm upfront. I told you this yesterday. I voted for Jeff, but I was okay with Lisa winning. I'm not okay with dark money winning. I'm not okay with outside influences coming in and just battering the airwaves and our mailboxes and the people who facilitated that and accommodated that. These are not people you want in your life, because those are the people that pursue political power at all cost. They don't care what it takes. They mobilize, they pull out all the stops, and they go after it. And here's the one thing that I'd like to add to this. And I would say this very specifically and personally and directly to Lisa, our new mayor-elect in Idaho Falls. Lisa, there are a lot of people around you now that think you owe them favors. They've spent a lot of money. They've given you their endorsement. They have done things to help you get power. And because of that, they think they now have a share of your power, that you owe them some things. I will hope and pray and support you in having a backbone to let them know you owe them nothing. You're the mayor, and you're accountable to the residents of Idaho Falls. You're not accountable.
The 6,000 whatever votes that you got. Yeah.
Yes. And now the entire city. Like, she's there to represent the entire city, even the people that didn't vote for her. She's accountable to them. It's we, the people. And so when you have those powerful people coming to you wanting a favor returned or pressuring you in any way, stand up to them. And if you'll do that, we'll have your back. And I think a lot of people will have your back.
I think we're already in a really good position. There's not a lot of rebuild that has to happen in Idaho Falls. There's a few areas of redirect.
Yeah.
That's different than rebuild. And so, geez, this is like a coach coming into a team that already has a good quarterback.
Yeah.
That already has a strong offensive line, but we need to tweak our running back or, whatever. That's the kind of team that Lisa's stepping in and picking up. And, geez, I hope she's brave and courageous, because I think we can do some amazing things in the city of Idaho Falls.
Yeah, I hope so, too. And, someone said News Talk Radio doesn't have any problem taking campaigns' monies. You're right. We don't. In the same way, if I were a Republican grocery store owner, I'd sell groceries to Democrats. What's the point?
Yeah. Okay.
What are they saying?
I always think this is hilarious that that people who consume content believe they should be able to do it for free, and also the people providing the content should never make any money either.
Right.
So you do get to consume the content for free, so you're getting half the deal, but the people who provide the content have to have a building and heat and resources and paid staff, and this is a large audience. So if they want to reach somebody, they're going to advertise here.
Right. I mean, we have a product, and we sell that product if somebody wants to buy. Now, political is a little bit different. All right. So when a campaign comes along, there are a few things we have to do. We have to offer them the lowest spot rate in prime. So I think 6A to 7P, the lowest spot rate that we've offered to any of our other customers in the last quarter, I think. Anyway, there's a price control there where we can't just charge a campaign massive amounts of money. There is one difference, though. When it's political action money, when it's a cause, we can charge them out the wazoo. Mm-hmm. All right. So yeah, we have a product. They buy it. What's the deal? I don't understand what their
and
their
ironically,
issue is.
they still buy the commercials, and then during the talk time, which is far more than the commercials, we go against the product. We go against the commercials. So I this is the way things work. I have a podcast. There are ads on my podcast that I didn't have control over because I have an agent.
Yeah.
That happens.
Well, I wouldn't say no. They followed it up. They said, you guys just referenced the dark money taking over the airwaves. That's all I was pointing out. Okay. They have a right to buy a product. Mm-hmm. And they did.
Because it was a place where they felt like they could reach a whole bunch of people.
By the way, we're not alleging illegality.
No,
that's not what we're saying.
No.
What we're saying is structurally, it's problematic to have so many outside dollars influencing a municipal election. We're not saying you got to make it illegal. What we're saying is we're going to throw some sunshine on it. We're going to put sunlight on this and let people know so they can gauge as they consume media and they consume information that they can calibrate according to that. And so I don't understand the point they're making here.
Well, maybe this is where they're going, which is we don't like the dark money, so we shouldn't accept the dark money. That's not actually what I'm arguing.
No.
I'm arguing that voters become more educated and understand the difference between dark money and candidates who are working hard to get elected.
Yes, right.
That's my long-term goal.
Yeah.
Is for the Idaho Falls residents, the Pocatello residents, anybody, last year, the Bingham County residents, that you become smarter.
Yeah.
And figure out the difference between dark money and a candidate working hard.
So let me add one other thing to this. Once you decide to take political, you can't say no. So I don't think we got dark money buys. I think all of our buys were from either Jeff's campaign or Lisa's campaign. Mm-hmm. I don't think Defend and Protect Idaho actually bought airtime from us. But let's say they did. All right. So for the sake of, I'll concede that point to this caller. Once you say we are taking political, you can't then pick and choose saying, no, we're not going to take your money because we don't like you or we don't like where it comes from. You open the door, you have to take the political buy. And you have to accommodate, within reason, you have to accommodate the schedule that they want to buy. Now, they can't buy up all the inventory, but if they want to purchase a healthy schedule, they can. Mm-hmm. And so but even if that wasn't a requirement, even if we could pick and choose, I'd still take their money. We live in a First Amendment environment. A PAC still has the right to buy airtime in a local market and try to influence it. As a talk show host, I get to say that, this is where this money's coming from, or we don't know where the money's coming from. We're not going to censor these ads.
Yeah, and this person's not really fighting with us because they said they think they love us and they think we're doing an excellent job of explaining it, but it does sound hypocritical. I would remind all of the listeners that Neal and Julie sit in this studio for 4 hours. There's a whole bunch of other people in this company and in this building, and if you think they believe everything that we say or side with us on everything we say or share 100% of the opinions that we have, that's just foolish.
It is foolish.
We've had great political debate with our coworkers.
Oh yeah, they do disagree with us politically, which means we have to be funny and charming to offset that, so they'll be friends with us.
So they'll have those political debates with us. But guess what? That makes us better at this job.
Well, yeah, it does.
And so it's not just we're not making the decisions here.
So.
We make the decisions about what happens for 4 hours.
So this person is now saying, I think you're doing an excellent job of explaining it. So I will say, I may be in a little bit of extra combative mode here. I'm like, oh, yeah, well, all right.
I don't know how I've been able to escape it because I've had moments where I've been very, I feel really low after an election because of the way that certain things were done or the way that seats were won or whatever. I don't feel this way this morning. I actually feel really hopeful, and it's probably going to take me a couple of days to figure that out. But full transparency to the audience, I went to bed last night before the results came in.
Yeah.
And I know why I was able to do that.
Yeah.
I was able to go to bed because from months ago, I was telling all of you, we had good candidates running.
Yeah.
The times that I have felt low is when I felt like a candidate won that I felt was going to be so detrimental to the residents of Idaho. That's when I have felt really low. I don't feel that way today. And it doesn't change. That's no different than what I've been saying for weeks. Now, am I still disappointed in the way some of the advocates for the campaigns behaved? You bet.
You know, I would agree with you. I think, Julie, our frustration is more about the periphery of these campaigns, not really the campaigns themselves.
Right.
And that's where the toxicity lies.
Yeah.
So, someone...
Oh, wow.
Did you read this? We'll just go through the mailbag here. Neither one of you are any kind of a decent leader. If you were, you'd be talking about those things you keep bragging about talking about off air. In other words, you basically have no courage. But the good news is a rival radio station could easily replace you. Easily.
Oh.
But yet they're listening to us. I find that funny.
I'm also super confused about that.
What are they talking about?
When I said we talked about it off air.
Do they never have a private conversation?
And I just shared the conversation with you.
Maybe I should get clarity before I poke back too hard. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'd like to know specifically what they're talking about.
And fine. Hey, I challenge, and if I am going to poke back, start your own radio station. We'll see how good you are.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have an experience. I don't even remember. There was some group out of Boise that was advocating for some cause. It's been so many years. I don't even remember. It's probably been more than a decade ago. And someone said, yeah, calm down, Combat Neal. I know, I need to. But I remember we were on the other side of the issue. This might have even predated you and I working together.
Okay.
Anyway, they had bought this political ad schedule, and some of the ads were airing. But during the course of the program, I'm sharing my true feelings and opinion about this particular issue. I get an angry phone call from the guy who represented the organization buying the ads, screaming his head off at me that we bought ads on your station, and now you're saying what you're saying. And I said back to him, wait, did you think you bought our opinion too? Like when you bought 60 seconds of airtime, did you think that you bought our advocacy for your cause too? Because that's not really how it works. Anyway, I can't remember if he pulled his ads or what, but I think sometimes you have to throw up boundaries of what this relationship is. And I will say, there were times we were pointing out what I thought were some flaws with Lisa's campaign, and she actually upped her schedule when on the station because she knows we reach a lot of people, and this audience reaches a lot of people. So she actually increased her buy. So again, kudos to her because she recognizes this is what's effective. And I know this is how I'm going to reach a lot of people. And having an ad with Roger Christensen endorsing me, having an ad with Mario Hernandez endorsing me is going to help me out. And more power to her.
In our opinions of that, we applauded her. We felt like her campaign should have gone that direction sooner. I believe it was very helpful for her to get the more approachable leaders on board. I would also say to the person that said neither one of you are any kind of a decent leader, I didn't ask to be your leader.
Yeah, I don't.
I didn't run for office.
You're assigning something to us that isn't
I provide content and opinion and an analysis, and a lot of people come to listen. I didn't ask to be your leader.
They just texted mission accomplished. What are they saying? What do they mean?
I think they think they're starting, by the way, they spelled it wrong, but a rival radio station, mission accomplished. Good. I don't feel any different about the jobs that we do than I ask of public education. Competition makes everybody better.
Yeah.
I said that this morning. I believe the competition made Lisa a better candidate.
I agree. She would probably agree.
Was it painful and hard? And yeah, sure. But competition makes people better.
Yeah. It does. It absolutely does.
I don't know. I'm not sure what this person's trying to get at us with, because it's just whatever. You do you.
Yeah. Okay. I really want to say something that I shouldn't say.
Oh, did you figure out who it was?
No.
Oh, okay.
But hold on. There's going to be a bit of silence here for just a moment. But I won't say that because...
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's 9:28. We got to take a break, Julie. 208-542-1079. Good to have you along on this Wednesday. The elections are over.
I'm so happy for everybody.
We all made it across that finish line. We'll be back after this. I'm not so sure what they meant by mission accomplished.
No, I think they think that there must be a rival radio station somewhere. I don't know. I don't know what they mean. And also, I'm not sure. Do they believe that every other person that's on the radio, whether it's a music station or a talk show or a what? Or we're on Facebook Live, right?
Yeah.
Like, do they believe that those people share every personal conversation? I'm so confused.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, what we do is fairly transparent, but we do have private conversations and conversations that we use discretion.
Yeah. I would hope that coworkers are good and loyal to each other. Neal and I have conversations that I wouldn't share with anybody else.
Right.
Because I'm a loyal friend. I'm so confused.
I am. I don't know what they're saying. I wish they'd be specific. Like, what are they talking about?
I don't know. Who knows? Okay.
We got to do Grand Peaks.
Okay.
Oh, they said you did not share the specific conversation that you had off air. You said conversations off air again. It would be easy to replace you. At least you have a sense of humor. What are they saying?
I don't know. And I'll say this to our Facebook Live audience. I wouldn't say this on air because I don't know who this person even is. But I would say this to our Facebook Live audience so that you are aware of doing it in your own personal life. A lot of people are using the internet or saying things while they're not in their greatest capacity. We have a lot of people in this state using prescription drugs and weed. One is illegal, one is legal, but they're using both of them. Yep. Remember that when you're having a conversation with somebody that's not face-to-face.
Yeah.
We got left a voicemail the other night.
Yeah.
Basically threatening our lives.
Kinda. It was scary.
It was pretty scary.
The anger and hatred was pretty...
And we walked away from it going, I think that guy is pretty lit up.
Yeah.
And in an everyday way, he would never be acting this way.
Yeah, probably not.
So keep that in mind.
9:32 on News Talk 107.9. It's a Wednesday morning. How about prime rib for your Christmas Eve dinner or roast? What about a roast for Christmas?
Oh, it would be fantastic. In fact, I've done that before. Prime rib, roast. I'm sure they even still do turkey if you're a big turkey fan.
Steak.
Sure.
Yeah. If you go to GP Prime Meats, that's Grand Peaks Prime Meats. We love them there, and they love us even when we have private conversations off the air. They still love us. And they want to help you out and get your freezer filled with delicious cuts of meat. And you can see some of those at gpprimemeats.com. And by the way, if you go there, and you don't see something but think they might have it, give them a call. They're happy to work with you. They do some custom things, and they do it. They've always done a good job of helping us out, Julie.
Yeah, they're great. And make sure you call. Great customer service. But if you're that person who just likes to do it without talking to anybody, their website is super friendly. You can order straight from there. You can have it delivered if you live in Idaho Falls and you spend more than $75. Delivery is free. If you live outside of the area, it's just a small surcharge. So your life can be incredibly easy with gpprimemeats.com.
All right, gpprimemeats.com. So, Julie, we had a couple of people through the holiday, and I did not respond back to them that they texted pie to 208-542-1079. So that's my mom's world-famous pecan pie recipe.
I ate it for lunch yesterday. It was fantastic.
That I have, it's now become just a tradition. I bake 2 of them at Thanksgiving. I bake 2 of them at Christmas, and Julie gets half of it. So anyway, people, they took a picture of their pecan pies because I asked them to, and they texted them in. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was really good. And so, yeah, we'll do it again at Christmas. In fact, if anybody texts the word pie, they'll get the recipe.
Yeah, it stays active. So.
It's on the website. So, yeah.
It was fantastic. I've made that pie, too. Super easy. It's a great recipe.
Yeah.
Very friendly.
Yeah, you said you'd trade one of your kids for it.
Especially when they were 14 or 15 or 16.
That's true. All right. Not really. Not really. But, okay. Anything else? Can we put the municipal elections to bed?
Well, we have a ton of national news to talk about. I would say let's do this. The phone lines are open if people have things they want to say about the municipal elections. Sure, we'll take their call, but I think we can move on to other news because, oh my gosh, you just got 6 more pies.
I know. Look at that. I'm serious. It is a 7. There's another one.
Yeah, there's plenty going on that we haven't even hit on nationally. One of them being that there was a highly contested special election in Tennessee that occurred yesterday. That was for a House seat, Republican versus Democrat. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. The female Democrat, she had openly talked about how she hates Nashville. She hates that bachelorettes come there and spend money and do parties for their upcoming wedding, which is just weird because they're bringing money into your economy. She had a lot of social media posts that she had to scrub. She ended up losing, I believe it was 9 points. I'd have to look at the exact. I believe it was 9 points. That's a good and a bad. I don't think we should poo-poo the win. We're grateful to have a Republican congressperson headed to Washington. That Republican will have to run again. He's been equated to G.I. Joe. He's a former military man. He's going to have to run again in less than a year because this was a special election. 9 points in a state that Donald Trump won by 22 points is a little disappointing.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, part of that is after Trump wins, there's always a backlash because Trump knows how to spend his political capital, and so the Democrats get really busy and angry and outraged. So, but yeah, I think that he's going to have to prove himself before. So I'm assuming he's running in the midterms in November. So
yes, yeah. So we'll see how it all goes. Of course, we're always going to have our worries about the midterms, just simply because of the history of midterms. When you have a Republican president, what happens to the Senate and the House? I would rely on Senator Risch and some conversations that we've had with him. He feels pretty confident about the Senate seats that are up next year. He feels like that the friendliness of the cycle ebbs and flows in the Senate because it's every 6 years. He believes this is a very friendly year that's coming up.
I think the Senate map looks pretty good. It's that pesky House map that scares me to death.
Yeah, and could go anyway.
So Scott Jennings put up a post yesterday, and he said, just know, if Democrats get control of Congress, they're going to pack the courts, they're going to do a whole bunch of really woke, they're going to get rid of the filibuster, they're going to do a whole bunch of stuff, because they have hated being in the minority. So while they have a window of opportunity, yeah. And so now, is part of that a Republican talking point to scare the American people into not voting for Democrats? Sure. But I think it's a realistic concern,
it's got some merit to it. I was listening to a member of Daily Wire was being interviewed today on Fox News because Daily Wire is headquartered in Nashville. And so Michael Knowles was on, and I feel like he was spot on with what the midterms will be circling around, which is the economy.
Yeah.
Trump has about 4 to 5 more months to really show people that the tariffs are working, that the prices are coming down, that even though we have the data points already, that inflation is not near at the levels that it was when Biden was in, that's not enough for people. They need to see prices coming down even more.
Yeah.
And part of that is their health care coverage. So it's a big climb.
Yeah.
Huge climb. But it will, if we can, as Republicans, message that and have the actual results happening in the next 5 or 6 months, that's when the midterms will be friendlier.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. I'm seeing the headlines. Costco is suing the Trump administration over the tariffs. They want a full refund of all the tariffs they've had to pay on the foreign goods that have come in. So,
do you look at them and just say, buy American?
Well, they want to offer a big variety of products, so I think that they're, but
they're locked in.
Yeah, they're locked in, but there's part of me that thinks if I'm thinking like a judge, I might tell Costco, well, you chose to buy those products, and part of that was paying the tariff.
You're right.
So I don't know. I don't know how strong their case is, but I don't know. We live in this world of our gauge of what's unconstitutional is I don't like it.
Right. It's so true. Let's talk about that. Do we have a moment?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Attorney General Raul Labrador's interview that we did in studio at the beginning of the 8 o'clock hour. In fact, it was almost all of the 8 o'clock hour. And if you guys missed it, there's 2 ways to get it. It is on Facebook Live. It'll also be in the podcast that will be posted about an hour after the show ends today. So you can go back and revisit that interview. But one of the really highlights for me is when we asked him about the timeline or the time frame for the lawsuit against House Bill 93 in the state of Idaho. That was very, very interesting because they've kind of been left in the dark, and that law goes into effect in January.
Yeah.
And what he told us was that the court has already ruled and said, unless something else happens, this goes forward. That is the one set thing. It's December 3rd.
Yeah. We're a month
and
away.
We've got a week and a half of dead time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So it's not a full month of time left for something to happen.
So I looked into this. I feel like the joke's over where I say my research team. I went on ChatGPT and I had it do a really deep dive into the lawsuit itself, Idaho's Constitution. I had it look at other states and other decided law when it comes to these parental choice and education bills. And there's a couple of states that have one that's super similar to Idaho. I think Oklahoma might be one that is. And I just asked ChatGPT, examine all of this, do this deep dive, and then give me a probability of the law's survival. How well does House Bill 93 weather this challenge based on all of this? So it did some thinking and it went through, and it gave it, if I remember right, it was about a 65% chance of survival in its entirety, and then an 85% chance of survival partially. So they're not
tweaks, changes, and it survives.
In my mind, it is very unlikely when you match up the law with Idaho's Constitution and then the arguments that the plaintiffs are bringing. They don't really have good legs to stand on here. And I think it's frustrating them, obviously. I do find it fascinating, and we talked about this with the Attorney General, that Jim Jones has been flapping his gums for the last couple of years about Blaine Amendment this and Blaine Amendment that and unconstitutional this.
That's your Jim Jones voice.
That's my Jim Jones impersonation. They didn't even try to argue that this was a violation of the Blaine Amendment. Mm-hmm. They know that's not a good argument.
Right.
In fact, the only argument, if I remember right in the analysis, the AI analysis, was that their only argument that might have some merit is that this creates a dual system of education. Now, I don't think it does, because it's just parents having freedom with a tax credit is not the creation of a new education system. So I think that's one of the reasons why they didn't put a lot of like the accountability stuff and you have to do this and you have to do that, because then it starts to look like a structure parallel counter system to K through 12. And that's not uniform, general, whatever. So I think that they actually deliberately structured it so there was as much discretion as possible for the parents to make this choice.
Yes. Yeah. It's going to be very, very interesting. I'm also in the spirit of making sure it's a good law. Because even though I support parent choice, I want good parent choice.
Yeah.
I want a good law. So in the spirit of making a good law, I'm excited to examine the data points a year later.
Yeah.
I want this to go forward. That's what I mentioned to Superintendent Scott Woolstenhume. Why sue now? Why not let it happen for a year and see if it's bad, if it's good, what we can change, what can happen? Why not give it a shot and see how it goes? We've mentioned before, we're late to this game. 2/3 of America has parent choice.
Yeah.
We're late.
Yeah.
So this has been done lots of times.
What was that?
I don't know.
Okay.
This has been done lots of times. So I'm excited to examine those data points and to point out, hey, maybe we should do this so it gets a little bit better, or celebrate the moments where we can see that this demographic of kids got the help that they needed.
Yeah.
Hey, that's going to be a good day.
Yeah. No, it is going to be a good day. All right, let's go to the phones. Hi, caller. How are you today?
Hey, good morning.
Hi.
I just wanted to touch on that Costco thing real quick.
Yeah.
When a company is given a tax, who really pays that tax?
The customers.
Yeah. So when Costco sues the federal government, are they refunding me my extra costs for purchasing those goods, or are they just going to pocket that?
That's a good point.
We know what's going to happen to that money. I'm not going to see it. You're not going to see it. They're not going to decrease prices because we're already paying those prices.
Yeah.
So it's just a double dip for them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, because presumably to stay profitable, they've already passed those costs on. So, yeah.
Right, because, I mean, if it costs them, however much more to secure the product, they're going to charge you that much more.
Yeah. No, great point, caller. Thank you for that. We are up against the time here. It's 9:46. Quick break. We'll be back. That was entirely my fault.
Jeannie, answer a question for me. She says, Idaho already has the best parent choice homeschooling laws. Keep their grubby hands off of it. Well, you don't have to participate, right, Jeannie? Like, I'm only asking to analyze data points of the people who choose to participate in House Bill 93.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You don't have to apply for the tax credit, and then you still get to follow your homeschooling regulations that are already in place. I'm understanding that correct, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you like your government-free homeschooling situation, you can keep your government-free homeschooling situation. Right? I mean,
yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it interrupts anybody who wants to just keep homeschooling. You don't have to take the tax credit. I think the fear, I have heard this. So to Jeannie's point, that once they do this, it's going to open up a regulatory avenue to regulate homeschools. And that's what they don't want to have happen.
Okay. And so, Jeannie, then I would ask, in your homeschooling circles, has this just been a fear of the parents who are already using homeschooling? Or has there been actual conversations with lawmakers saying they want to go that direction? I would like to know how far down that path we are in changing the homeschooling regulations.
I don't know.
Because I would argue for you, Jeannie, if you're providing what's needed for your kids, they shouldn't be touching it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I agree.
If your kids are, if kids doing the curriculum that you're doing grow up and become productive adults, and more power to you.
Somebody just messaged me directly, said, I want to know what you said and who the jerk texting you is. The one from before.
Did you look up the number?
Yeah, nothing came up. But
we did have somebody message and ask for my email. So I've been waiting to get a blasted email, but.
Oh, what was the text history of that?
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all.
Okay. Also, all right. Callers, sorry, we were having an off-air conversation about off-air conversations.
Well, I think we can say what we were saying, which was I'm not sure what that texter had a problem with, because when I did say we had an off-air conversation, I then told what the conversation was, which was you and I discussed how we will go back and listen to interviews that we do. Yeah. And we'll give ourselves a letter grade. Like, we'll look at it and go, I was really glad I did that, or, oh, I wish I had done this, or, oh, next time we have them on the phone, I've got to remember to ask this. Like, that's being good at our job. We should be doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm not. I don't know what that text was about. Okay. I don't know.
So let me ask this question, because sometimes we apply in our now very prevalent right to think we should have access to every piece of information we possibly can get our hands on.
Yeah.
You know, we have open meetings laws with government. Do they think that on-air radio hosts are bound by the same transparency guidelines that we like? Is that what they're? You can't have an off-air conversation. What are you hiding? I don't know.
I actually think you and I are pretty authentic.
I do too. Like, I feel like
I would tell you guys, almost everything Neal and I talk about off-air gets to be on air too
at some point. Mm-hmm. Minus the F words. No, I'm kidding. Hold on. Like flip and fetch, right, Julie? All right, 9:52 now on News Talk 107.9. As we head into the holidays, I want to share something that truly could make a difference for families right here in Idaho. If you or a loved one worked at the Idaho National Lab, listen up. You could qualify for up to $400,000 in compensation and no-cost in-home health care through a federal program. It's called EOPA. And that's where CNS Cares comes in. These folks are the real deal. They're founded by nurses. They provide compassionate, high-quality home care to energy workers and their families. CNS Cares knows the program inside and out. They can help you through every step, whether it's filling out your claim with the Department of Labor to receiving your DOL white card and accessing medical benefits like doctor visits or prescriptions or hospital stays, supplies. You can even get reimbursed for travel costs. And once you qualify, CNS Cares builds a care plan that's all about you, and they'll even hire and train family members as caregivers, offering great pay and benefits. So as you head into the holidays thinking about your health and your loved ones, don't wait to take the next step. Find out what benefits you've earned and make this season one of comfort and peace of mind. You can learn more at cnscares.com. Again, that's cnscares.com. Or give them a call, 208-271-5018. That's 208-271-5018. Who you choose matters. Talk to the team who cares. And that, of course, is CNS Cares. So, okay, Julie, did you just have an off-air text with someone?
Oh, no. I'll actually say what that was about. Somebody said, Julie, I want to get my mother a red light therapy mask. Which one do you recommend?
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Which I think is a fantastic gift. So if someone's looking for a gift for a female, a red light therapy mask would be great. Unfortunately, I didn't have an answer for them because I actually go to a local business. I support local on this, and I go do red light therapy at a business.
Okay.
And I told them which business. I can't say that over air, but I told them which business. But I would say ask Grok or Chat GPT, but be very careful in your prompt. Ask your AI assistant to source the material, tell you ratings, give you, be very clear in your prompt so you get the best red light therapy mask.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go. It's going to start up again.
I know. Give it a second here. And almost. There it is. Okay. It's off just a little bit. All right. 9:54. Final break. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up on News Talk 107.9. I can't believe how many people texted pie.
I know. So many.
All right. We'll be right back. Okay, go ahead.
Jeannie, I totally get your concerns here. She has said she's had personal discussions with a representative that makes her believe that that representative would be very on board with shifting all of the regulations for homeschool. So, yeah, I get your concerns. Totally.
I would hope there would be massive pushback against that in the legislature.
I would hope so, too, especially if it's working. We don't need to be fixing things that aren't broken. We got plenty of broken things.
Yeah, right.
Let's just fix the things that need help.
Yeah.
Oh, I did save a tweet that I wanted to talk to everybody about. Let me go there and find it.
Okay. Do we have any other endorsements?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope.
Not in advanced windows?
Nope. Well, she said 2 a week.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Oh, how much time do we have? This was one of the things I saved.
You have about a minute.
I saved this tweet. It says the BYU alumni chapter. So just a bunch of graduates from BYU in Dallas. They have a BYU alumni chapter in Dallas. They rented out Globe Life Field. They ponied up the dough, rented out the whole field. This is where the Texas Rangers play. They're hosting a tailgate party. It's free admission on the field for Friday night from 6 to 9 p.m. They're just going to get together and rally for BYU before their big Texas Tech game.
Just a rally?
Uh-huh.
That's crazy. We do have an advanced window.
Okay.
Here, we'll have it just enough. Here we go. All right, 9:57 on News Talk 1079. Take a look at those windows. Are they discolored or warping? Maybe you see some condensation between your window panes. They could be leaking air, and that means that your heating bills are higher than they should be. Plus, it just may look bad. So before winter really hits, it's time to look at replacing your windows with Advanced Window Products. They're the top replacement window company in Idaho because they build the windows, install them, and they guarantee them for life.
Hey, grab your phone, get it ready, because we're going to give you the phone number here in a minute. So you'll need to either type it into a note or go ahead and type it into your phone app. But you're going to want to give them a call. They have discounts that are available. I would ask for whatever you can get, because these are the kind of guys that are workable. We've had them in studio before. We've had some decent weather. They've been able to get really caught up on their installations, and you need them to come out to your house, give you a bid, then you'll know what you're looking at.
Here's the number, 208-852-8685. That's 208-852-8685. Big savings, too, when you purchase 10 windows or more, and they'll even prorate that. So savings either way. All right, everyone have a wonderful Wednesday. Julie and I back tomorrow right here on News Talk 1079.